Daredevil Born Again Season 2 has been pretty good, and the last couple of episodes have suggested that it's getting better and better. And there might be a few things that you could have missed that I think make it even richer, deeper, and more thoughtful, and I want to share those things with you. Welcome to Philosophy All Along. I'm a professional philosopher, and I like to use the tools of philosophy to help me understand the things I love on a deeper level. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. There's three things that I think are really significant here. One is the painting and its connection to Vanessa, specifically Rabbit in a Snowstorm. Remember that big white painting that played a really important role in season 1 and then in season 3 of the OG series. Then we also have Vanessa requesting pineapple juice, which is a kind of weird, almost seems like kind of a throwaway or just kind of brief moment that's supposed to indicate, oh, something's a little bit different about her, something's off or something's wrong. And then also this lighting of the almost heavenly cast of white and blue lighting in the hospital where Vanessa is being treated, and the red cast of the lighting where Poindexter and Matt, when they're trying to escape, they're kind of in these tunnels underground. I think all of these things connect to something very deeply and suggest, as this most recent episode is called, a grand design, something making it rich, powerful, and significant. Okay, so let's look at the painting really quickly. So when you have something like a painting, well, you might be like, well, maybe it's a symbol for something. And what could it be a symbol of? And it has had a lot of symbolism in the show. But in this particular case, I think the painting has become a symbol for Vanessa. And we realize that because they start showing her when she first interacts with the painting, the first time she sees it, we see her wearing white. And it makes a direct connection between her, both narratively and visually. Okay, so Vanessa is connected to the painting. Now we see her wearing white when she goes, fast forward into the present, we see her going into Wilson's boxing match, and it suggests, oh, okay, well, she's kind of returned to where she first was in beginning to meet Wilson, or she's about to meet Wilson. And it suggests, okay, I'm recapturing that. I'm reconnecting with him. I'm going back to our roots. It also says, okay, I'm willing to do this whole Mayor and Mrs. Fisk thing that the governor wants, because she's now wearing the color that he wears. But if she's connected to the painting, well, all you have to do is go back and look at season 3 and see what happens to the painting. The painting gets blood on it. Well, you get blood on a painting, you probably destroyed the painting. The painting has, in fact, died. So she's connected to the painting. She's wearing white. Okay. And then they, of course, have this beautiful, tragic imagery of the blood soaking her white dress. So now she cannot be separated from the painting. The painting dies and she dies. And we probably should have known that as soon as we realized there was any connection between them at all. With that then being the case, the problem is the painting was grounding for Wilson. It made him feel lonely, but grounded, meaning that she grounds Wilson as well. She helps give him a space of meaning. He tells us, art is meaningless, it's pretentious people, etc., etc. But by saying that it is something that people imbibe with meaning, by buying the painting, he's now actually buying into that idea that it can be meaningful, that it can be significant. She's connected in that way. She's providing him with meaning. The painting is gone. She's gone. So this isn't just a problem of like, oh, Wilson is going to go on a rampage. This is a problem of Wilson no longer has meaning in his life. So we're going to understand his actions, not just as some kind of like fridging Vanessa. Oh, he's getting vengeance for her. This is let's see what a character does when he has no meaning in his life anymore. And that, I think, is richer because he could go violent, he could go depressed, he could go personally self-destructive, or all of the above. If you've gotten this far, please go ahead, like and subscribe, share it with other people, tell them there's something interesting happening here. It would be cool to grow the channel, and it would be cool to grow it with you. Okay. So what about the pineapple juice that she's asking for? So we see them up there with a lot of blue and white kind of heavenly lighting, and she asks for pineapple juice. Normally you would think something like that is just kind of a connection to the viewers who've seen her reject pineapple juice before. You thinking, oh no, she's rejected pineapple juice before, and now she's asking for it. Something's wrong, something's off. But you don't really have that. So it made me go, wait a minute, why is this significant? I'm not immediately remembering some significant interaction with Vanessa and pineapple juice. Could it be more? And I think it is. Because otherwise it's just kind of this empty space. Pineapples are incredibly significant back in the day. So we're talking about 1500s, 1600s, 1700s for the Catholic Church. And we, of course, know that Daredevil is a Catholic, that this whole show is called Born Again. You can't escape the religious imagery, the religious connections, especially to Catholicism. I mean, half the time they're in a church. So by asking for pineapple juice, she seems to be referencing from the meta-narrative, us looking into it, this wanting to be divine, almost as if someone who is there on their deathbed, taking their last rites, right, which is a Catholic sacrament, kind of asking for forgiveness, asking to be connected to divinity. It's wild how significant pineapples are. To make a very long story short, pine cones are symbols of immortality because they don't evergreens that they come from don't die in the winter. So for ancient Catholics, they were like, oh, this is a symbol for God. They bring new life. So when people found pineapples, which look like pine cones with crowns on them, it was an even bigger deal. Plus, pineapples, to get them to Europe was incredibly expensive because you had to travel over the Atlantic. They didn't have planes or any of that. So they were incredibly expensive. When you had a pineapple out, because they were so expensive, it was a sign of hospitality. So you literally see pineapple sculptures, things like on towers at St. Paul's Cathedral, for example. Like they were saying, you're welcome here. This is hospitable, but also this is a space of divinity and the divine. Another kind of weird connection to that, the pineal gland, which is where Christians thought and philosophers thought was the connection between the soul and the body, the soul and the brain, the soul and the mind. They thought the pineal gland was where they connected. And why? The pineal gland kind of looks like a pine cone. So they're like, oh, that's got to be the divine space. That has to be the area where the soul is connecting with the body. And we see the doctor gesture towards that when Vanessa is dying, or when she's about to go into surgery. The doctor says, oh, it's really difficult when you're dealing with the connection between the soul and the mind, which is a direct reference to this pineal gland. So it's fascinating that she asked for pineapple juice. I think this is, to make a long story short, a way of suggesting that she is now deified when she likes it, when she's like, oh no, this is good. She's gone from being someone for whom it was a problem in the past. This divine holy juice is not working for her. It's giving her tingly lips. But now she says, what? That's divine. That's a very intentional writing, I think. And even if it's not, wow, what a coincidence. So that means she's now been made sacred. She's anointed. When you have someone who's made sacred, they're usually saints who are being martyred. They're being sacrificed. The word sacrifice literally means to make sacred. It has the word sacra in it. So when she's being sacrificed in this way, she is being deified. Who sacrifices her? Well, now this is a toughie because it's in a lot of ways Wilson's fault, in a manifold of ways, verging from rejecting the nurse to, hitting the glass that knocks into her. But she was going to die anyways. She was under the gun, kind of almost literally, from Poindexter. Whether or not Wilson hits it or doesn't, that thing would have hit her head. So it's either the shard or he doesn't miss. She's going to die. So who sacrifices her? Who's intentionally trying to sacrifice her? Poindexter. And that brings us to our final kind of weird, deep connection. Because you have the devil in Matt. He is supposed to be this character that reflects kind of the fear that the devil imposes, but also the consequences that the devil imposes. We remember that in the Old Testament, that Satan, who literally becomes mishmashed with the devil by the time, we're reading the book of Revelations, where you really first see this idea that the devil's this evil entity that's trying to twist God's plan. But back in the day, in the Old Testament, for the ancient Hebrews, Satan was actually a title, basically, for a prosecutor, for someone who was arguing against you. So by being Daredevil, Matt is literally taking on not just being an attorney in his life, but being this kind of spiritual attorney, and this attorney who's often arguing against humanity. You're bad. I'm going to give you consequences. The way that Satan is kind of described in the Old Testament. But now we have him down in the bowels with this red, kind of like they're in hell. Vanessa's up there in heaven with the white and the blue. And Poindexter is the one who has made the sacrifice of her, this divine sacrifice. He's kept the balance. That's what a sacrifice is, right? When you sacrifice someone, it's like in order to pay a debt so that you can get rain or the famine ends or whatever it happens to be. So in this case, though, notice that there's even a blue cast. There's so much blue. When Vanessa is at surgery and dying, there's white and blue. Now, blue tends to make things look a little bit more white, but in addition to that, it's also Poindexter's color. It's the color that is used to indicate Poindexter. She's having these dreams about him. He is the angel of death. That is the character that in the Old Testament is directly sent by the divine to extract punishment. So while Satan is arguing against humanity and saying, oh, they deserve punishment and they're bad, etc., they don't deserve your divinity, the angel of death is acting as an arm for the divine, going out and enacting punishments. So like killing all the firstborn children of Egypt. So Poindexter, I think, is supposed to be another variation on Lucifer, Satan, the devil. And now we have two devils arguing with each other down in the bowels of the earth. And the fact that it's a grand design, which is mentioned multiple times by Vanessa, by Matt, Poindexter says, we are who we are, a way of saying, this is designed, this is going to be as it's going to be. We have Foggy's friend, who Foggy is trying to save, saying, there's nothing you can really do. This is what's going to happen to me. Vanessa is going to die no matter what, whether or not Wilson hits this thing, this glass sculpture out of the way or not. There's all this stuff suggesting predetermination. It's part of his design. It's part of a plan. And so now you have these two variations on the people who judge humanity arguing about what that means. Poindexter saying it means nothing. It's all basically just a balance. It's all part of just this grand design. We are who we are. There's nothing you can really do to save anyone. Hence why he's a nihilist. He's, interestingly enough, in the comics, a Catholic and a nihilist. He's basically just a Catholic by name who becomes a nihilist because he recognizes none of it matters. It's all predetermined. What's the point? God knows what I'm going to do anyways. I'm going to do what I'm going to do anyways, so it doesn't matter. Matt has the harder argument. He's having to deal with, okay, there's a grand design, but people do deserve help and they also do deserve punishment. More responsibility can still be applied. He seems to think that because we are blind to the tapestry. It's one of those things where, like, since you don't know what you're going to do, maybe the divine does, but since you don't know, when you make a choice, it still matters. So his blindness becomes kind of symbolic of that realization that we are able to be both praised and blamed because we can't see, because we don't know what's going to happen. But in either case, both end up basically just saying human beings deserve what they get, they deserve their punishment, or it doesn't really matter anyways. And that's why we need Foggy. Foggy enters this whole thing, this whole episode, basically with white light behind him. The first time we see Matt and Foggy, we see this flashback, there's this backlighting, kind of giving us this idea of like, oh, he's returned from the dead a little bit, at least for us as the viewer, but also that he's divine. And notice that the argument that Foggy makes, he's making an argument that says, yeah, okay, maybe there is a grand design. Maybe there are all of these rules. And in fact, we can even follow these rules, but things still matter. And not just to punish people, kind of like Matt wants to do, but also with hope. When he and Matt are talking, he points out that it's not just a problem of you and me and the right now and what happens to us, but how our actions reverberate beyond us in ways we can't know. Matt seems to have forgotten that because he can't see the tapestry, he can't see how the actions that we take go beyond us, that the little goods we do might result in positives that we will never know. Foggy is arguing for forgiveness. He is the New Testament response, basically, to what Poindexter and Matt are arguing kind of Old Testament wise, like angel of death, Satan. But Foggy's saying, no, but forgiveness matters, even in a case of grand design, because we don't know how what we're going to do is impacting others. So that's literally what forgiveness means. Forgive. It means to give into the future. When you give a gift into the future, when you pay it forward, you can't know who it's going to help. So it's a true gift. It's a pure gift. You get nothing in return. I don't know if it's going to help any. I'm just hoping maybe it does. Maybe it won't. I get nothing out of it. I'm giving this gift. I'm forgiving. I'm hoping it works out. You've done me harm. You might do it to me again. I don't know if you will, but I'm giving the gift of the possibility of your redemption. To be redeemed, which is what Matt now believes in, means to pay a debt. But he's not paying a debt backwards. He's paying the debt forwards. He's not saying, I'm going to just go punish you, people who have done harm. I'm going to give you, Poindexter, a chance to do good. So the debts that other people have paid for me, the help, the sacrifices that they've made, people like Foggy, I'm going to pay it forward and hope that good comes out of it. So Foggy returns as this divine character, basically a version of the voice of God saying, no, forgiveness matters. Of course, now what we're going to see is we've seen Matt have to figure out what to do when he doesn't have Foggy there. He initially fails. He goes straight into vengeance, tries to kill Poindexter in season 1 of Born Again. But he is mirrored now with Wilson. Wilson has now also lost his grounding voice. We know that Matt eventually seeks redemption and internalizes that voice to try and do good. Do we think Wilson's going to do the same? Well, we'll find out. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it. Please do like and subscribe, and I hope you have a wonderful day.